Simply speaking, international trade is the exchange of goods and services between countries. If you walk into a supermarket and find South American bananas, Brazilian coffee, and a bottle of British juice, you are experiencing the effect of international trade. Actually, international trading globally gives consumers and countries the opportunity to be exposed to goods and services not available in their own country or which would be more expensive domestically. The importance of international trade was recognized early on by political economists like Adam Smith and David Ricardo. Dear audience, besides its worrying effect on human life, the novel strain of coronavirus called COVID-19 has put a remarkable dent on the global economy. Trade-related targets now look even more daunting than ever before, particularly for developing countries. World trade has already expected to fall by between 13 and 32% in 2020 as the COVID-19 pandemic disrupts regular economic activities and life around the world. This number seems dreadful. However, a rapid and strong rebound is possible by quick decision making. Not only the international trade, this deadly virus may bring a drastic change in the present pattern of career growth in international trade. I'm delighted to introduce Ms. Subah Afrin as our today's webinar speaker. Ms. Afrin is the head of trade product and assistant vice president of Citibank NA, Bangladesh. She is a passionate banker and financial analyst. She has completed her MBA, major in finance, from Institute of Business Administration, known as IBA of Dhaka University. With a handful of years of experiences in international trade, she will discuss the challenges in international trade and ways to overcome those challenges in this webinar. In addition to that, the impact of COVID-19 on the international trade and its stakeholders will be discussed elaborately. So, let's hear from Ms. Subah. Ms. Afrin, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a great introduction. Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, hello everyone. This is Subah Afrin. I'm currently working for Citibank in Bangladesh as the head of trade products. So, first of all, I would like to express my sincere that I would actually like to give a short overview of my career and my background. So as Sar was mentioning that I've been working in the corporate sector for almost 9.5 years now. And I think most of the audience is students, so this is for you guys. So I have done my BBA from North South University, and then I did my MBA from IBA. So if you ask me, how did my career path got shaped? So after completing my graduation, I joined HSBC for my internship. And I would be very honest, it was not a very fancy one. So banking career, if you ask me altogether, I mean, you have to be very focused and you have to be very resilient if you really want to pursue this career. So secondly, if you ask me how did my career growth with Citi went on. So I joined back Citi in 2011 as management associate, and after a year, I joined Citi NA Dubai for my attachment for about a year. So that actually gave me some international exposure. So now the next question comes, how are actually MNCs, what kind of policies do they follow when they try to recruit freshers or mid-level employees in the industry? So even 8 or 9 years back, I think most of the reputed banks or MNCs, they looked for candidates from public universities like Dhaka University, IBA, and Jahangirnagar University, Chittagong University. But now I would say the dynamics have changed a lot. I think they're now more open to take students from private universities as well, so which gives you guys a lot of hope. So I'm sure you guys are going to explore those opportunities. But a few tips or suggestions I would like to share with you while if you want to really pursue your career in banking and you can actually, face interviews during this for banking professions or banking careers. So first of all, whatever I'm sharing currently is totally from my own experience. So just to give an example, even a few days back, I was in one of the interview panels where we got a very rich CV, full of information, where the person has actually worked in different projects. But when he started off, his arrogance was showing very profoundly. So I think we got to be careful. I mean, as a recruiter, we always want very confident employees. However, there is a very thin line, very fine line being confident and being overconfident. So I think we all must be very careful when we do that. So my second point would be, when you go for an interview or when you apply for any kind of position or post, the first thing you need to keep in mind is you need to have a proper plan. See, I know life never really goes by the plan, but then again, if you don't want to distract yourself, you must have a plan. So let me again give you another practical example. So I have seen lots of engineering graduates. They apply for banking career or banking positions. So once they start working, then they realize that maybe banking is not for them because they're not enjoying it. So, they waste almost 1 or 2 years of their career going for they never wanted in the first place. So we got to be very careful about what we want in life. At least, in your career for the first 3-4 years, the first 5 years is very important to choose where you want to go. Whether you want to go in banking or you want to do some kind of marketing or you want to be in communication. There are lots of options open for you. So, but you choose it very carefully. Okay, so the next point I would like to cover is, I hope I'm audible, right, to everyone?
Yeah, clear.
Right. Okay. So the next point is that I want to cover is, I think before going to any interview, at times what happens, we don't even go through the job description or the role that is expected of me. So what I would suggest that before any interview, the first thing we must do is we need to have a story for ourselves. Story in the sense that what I have done to get this job, why am I a good fit for this job, and what can be done, what I can add to this job. So we need to have a proper background story. So if I again try to give an example, say if you are being asked for recruitment in electronic banking, and if the recruiter asks you that, why do you think you're for this role? So maybe you have not done anything related to electronic banking, because I understand you guys are all freshers as students. But then again, you can always refer to courses or certificates that might be, relevant in this case. Because at times what happens, the candidates, when they're being asked, why are you fit for this role, they keep on mentioning that, okay, I believe at times, before the interview sessions or before you apply, you have a very clear picture and give the viewer, and to have a proper story written that shows this is me, I'm currently doing this. From here, I want to go to this position. I fit because I'm this. So I think something, at times, private university students, very well, I'm very proud. However, we still have a way to go. The things that we kind of seem to ignore. Not be knowing the answers, right? He or she becomes very nervous. But in this case, my suggestion would be, you can always directly say that I don't know the answer. However, it has to be in a very polite manner. And secondly, you can always say that I would try to learn this because I'm very passionate about learning this kind of stuff. So, rather than giving a wrong answer, or rather than becoming nervous, you can always directly say that, I don't know the answer to this particular question. So I'm just sharing my personal experience of what I have seen. actually trying to cover all this because I was asked that many of our students are willing to pursue banking career. So this is just some small tips for you guys to follow. So then another very, very common question that comes during interviews is, where do you want to see yourself 5 years from now? So, when an interviewer asks this kind of questions, you need to understand that their main objective is to identify whether you would like to continue your career with the company or not for a long time. Because when someone recruits you, they're actually making a long-term investment. So what happens, I've seen students saying, a lot of them, that maybe out of honesty they say it, that after 2 years I'm going to go abroad for my MBA, or after 2 or 3 years I would like to pursue a different career path. So, when we're saying that, this actually diminishes the chances for them to recruit me, because honestly they're looking at their objective. Their objective is to recruit someone who will stay with them at least for 5 to 6 years. So when we answer these kind of questions, we got to be very careful. Yes, at times they would also ask you that, you have not finished your master's or MBA, aren't you going to pursue it? You can always say that that maybe I still don't have, I have still not decided on it, the time frame, or I might do it, side by side with my job. So these are like very nitty-gritty questions, but I think this makes a lot of impact on the interview itself. So, and the last thing that I would like to mention is that you gotta have patience. I know when I was a fresher myself, I used to get very impatient that, I'm applying in so many places. How come, they're not calling me? I have a good CGPA. How come I'm not getting any calls? So, but to be honest, it's a very, very big competitive world out there. And you got to be patient and don't lose hope. And another thing that I have realized in the last 10 years is that, or 9.5 years precisely, that learning has no end. I mean, you won't believe. When I was a student, I used to think, okay, after I'm done with my BBA or MBA, I don't have to study anymore. But the last 9.5 years, the amount of studying I have to do was more than what I did in my entire university life. I mean, I'm learning every day. So you got to be very dynamic. That's what I'm trying to say. Because every day there would be new news coming up. Every day there would be new guidances from the government, or particularly in the banking industry from the central bank. There would be new circulars. And if you really want to have a good career in banking, you must be very aware of what's going on in the world all over. So I think I have covered most of the aspects, and I will be taking any questions that you have, maybe at the end of the session. So now maybe we can move on to the topic that we have been assigned today. Sorry, is that okay? Am I audible?
Yes, Apu.
Okay, great. All right, so now moving to the topic that we would like to cover now. So Bangladesh honestly is not really new to disasters or major humanitarian crisis. I mean, we have been. So why is that? Because I believe we as a nation, we're very resilient, and we tend to fight whatever barriers that we see in a very strong manner. However, this COVID-19 pandemic situation is definitely a totally different sort, a different kind of magnitude, because the entire world is suffering. So a developing country like Bangladesh would definitely not be prepared fully to fight it. However, I would like to appreciate our government, who has, I would say, taken a lot of measures to fight it. I'm not gonna go through the health side or how they're doing it through the lockdown, but rather I'll focus on how they're doing it through the banking industry or from the economic perspective, what Bangladesh government is currently doing, and what adverse impact we're gonna see in next few months, and how we can actually overcome it. Maybe the transition period will be something that we need to look at because it's a big uh, it's going to have a big impact. As you can see, the most of country like US is also suffering. The oil prices have gone negative, so it's a totally different phenomena altogether. But then again, we can only maybe hope for some trade. What is it? So international trade, if you think theoretically, this is basically exchanging goods from one country to another. So there can be instances where, say for example, I need to import certain raw materials from another country because I don't have access to these raw materials in my country. So that's a kind of import. And exporting is something when our country has abundance of it. For example, our R&D sector, the ready-made garment sector. As you know, we're almost the second largest R&D sector in the world. So since we have abundance of it and since we're efficient in it, we tend to export it to other countries. So how is the trade done? So mostly the common form is by opening letter of credits. Also there are open account mechanisms, and there are also documentary collections. So these are very specific banking terms, so I don't want to go details into it. But just to give you an idea that in April data is still not there. We'll be knowing from the newspapers that we have at least $3 billion of orders being cancelled from the R&D to be imported. For example, cotton. So we import it based on a master contract being given by the exporter. So after making the goods, we then export it. So there is like a two legs to it. And in this case, since our export orders are being all cancelled,